Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reach the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City!
Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right there. Good evening. How the devil are we? Probably none of us are feeling quite as bum-clenchingly nervous as any Toffee fan or Claret fan this evening. A big game for them, and I'm going to be going on to Dan's channel, Turf Miles TV, after this to help him get through it, shall we say. I'm like his comfort blanket. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Catch us on YouTube at Leicester Till I Die TV, and if you do, please give us a like and a subscribe. We would love you forever, and thank you if you are listening to us, and that's on all the major, well, not just all the major podcast platforms, but your favourite podcast platforms, because we seem to be on loads of them. It's a small matter of a European quarter-final. Yes, I know it's the conference, but it's Europe. And being a Leicester fan, we're not that sort of, I can say, big-headed, like Arsenal fans and Man United say, oh, this is below us, blah, blah, blah. Apart from Blood Glimt, and bless them for coming this way, they are the story of the competition this season. But, you know, you've got Roma, you've got Marseille, you've got PAOK, you've got Feyenoord, Slavia Prague, and tomorrow's opponents, PSV, all clubs that would not be out of place in the Premier League. Sorry, in the Premier League. What I'm saying, in the Champions League. See, I'm nervous about tomorrow as well. So it's not a competition to be taken lightly. It's not a competition to be laughed at. And I tell you something, if we do get to the final, there'll be plenty of Spurs and Arsenal fans that wishing that we were them. We'll bring that guest in straight after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the evening. 60 minutes of football fun and banter with Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV. Are you ready? Let's get ready to rumble.
First of all, say good evening to my co-host, and you'll know him. He's on here more than, well, I think this week, Brad, I think I was talking to you online more than your girlfriend.
Well, I mean, maybe we've done a lot of talking, a lot of shows recently, so she might not be jealous about that. She gets a bit of peace and quiet.
hopefully she understands. I mean, she's a football fan, so hopefully she will. Let's bring in our other guest going to talk to us about PSV, and that is Michael. Good evening, Michael.
Hi both, thanks for having me.
No problem. You are most welcome. Thanks for coming on. Tell people about yourself, where they can find you, etc.
So I'm Micheal Statham, and I help run Football Oranje, which is the biggest English language outlet of Dutch football. You can find us. We've got a website. We love the Eredivisie. We also love the Dutch national team. So if that takes your fancy, come and check us out. Yeah, website, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We interview players. We do podcasts, all sorts. A bit like yourselves. And yeah, thanks for having me. I look forward to this. I think it's going to be a great match.
Yep, thank you. I say thank you very much. Brad, very quickly, tell us about your podcast that's coming up.
Yeah, so I've got a new channel. Well, it's an old channel that I'm rebirthing. It's called A Matter of Opinion. It's like Ron said, that's exactly what it says in the tin. The first episode's on Friday. It's Marvel versus DC. I've got a few guests on there. I've got Chloe, Reese, and Doug joining me for the first episode. And that's pretty much just the theme of the podcast, is to get a group of people in and give their opinion on which one they think's better or on a particular topic. So if you want to check that out, follow me on Twitter at Full Time Focus, and the link to the channels in there.
Yeah. Mike, you said, well, you heard me say in the intro there that a lot of English clubs have looked down the nose at this competition, which annoys me greatly, because it's a European competition, and I think it says more about them perhaps than the competition. How have sort of the Dutch clubs, and obviously PSV in particular, taken to the competition?
Well, PSV themselves were qualified for the Champions League originally, ended up in the Europa League group stages, and now they've ended up in the Conference League, where they didn't necessarily want to be in that competition to begin with. But it's at a level, I think, it's been great for Dutch clubs this season. All 5 Dutch clubs made it into the springtime to play knockout football. Obviously, Ajax in Champions League, and then you have the 4 teams in the Conference League. It's been a great competition for Dutch clubs. And yeah, I think PSV, this is around where they are at the moment, this kind of level. You are right. There are some clubs here that could be in the Champions League, but the level of the clubs in this competition, I'd say you're looking at a club around the quality of Leicester that could win this competition, and that's great. A club like Leicester or PSV could win a European competition. And
Brad, I mean, we've said this often. I mean, we just love being in Europe, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, ever since that infamous season put us into the Champions League, we as fans and along with some of the players, although obviously we're down on the numbers of the ones that won the league, but as a player and as a fan, it must be something that's thrilling to enjoy. It's a great experience. It's its own atmosphere, isn't it? I mean, you remember, Chris, the first time the Champions League theme ran out, and the first Europa League game, and coincidentally the first conference game against Rennes that we had, where the music's just different. The atmosphere is different. The banners are there. The crowd feels like it's holding double the capacity. It's just such a great occasion. And I think for a club like Leicester, it's kind of different to PSV because they've been well renowned in European competitions ever since I can remember. They're always in one form of European competition. But for a club like Leicester, you cherish it more, don't you? Because you don't know when this is going to end. Could this be Leicester's last European journey for a while, or will we win it? It's something you enjoy a lot more, being a club of Leicester's calibre with their limited European experience.
And we should say at the moment, of course, all the best to Louis van Gaal. Comes, all the wishes of football fans generally, I think. So best wishes go out to him. I mean, Mike, when you look at these teams here, and let's just bring them in, these are the sort of quarterfinals. I mean, like you dropped down, like we did from the Europa. I mean, it almost seems, I think they've missed the chance. We're calling it the Europa Conference League. First of all, it's almost like a tag on to the Europa League, and the conference in the UK, it's like non-league football. So it almost does seem this season like it's a little bit of a, oh, here we go. Yeah, we'll throw this in the mix rather than giving it its own identity.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think giving it a different name would have been great, because look at the teams there. We want to see one of these teams win this competition. It's going to be really exciting. That I don't know, but a glimpse in the quarterfinals of European competition. That's really cool.
It is. I mean, being Leicester, we like being the underdogs, but they're playing Roma, and it's not to say that we're not going to get them, Brad. They beat Roma 6-1 in the in the group stage.
Yeah, and look, we know all about being underdogs in the European competition. I mean, against our arch rivals, if you will, we surpassed everybody's expectations. I mean, we were set to embarrass England in the Champions League, and then not only did we group, and then we were the first. Unfortunately, I can't say the only now, but we were the first team to ever beat Seville from England in a European competition, and we made it to a quarter final. So we know all about living the pipe dream, and there's no reason they can't. I mean, I'm looking at these teams, and you know, what, there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of them badges have all got Champions League experience to some capacity. You know, most likely Marseille, Roma, PSV, Feyenoord, and obviously Leicester. So it's a very, very close group, and literally, like you said, the 6-1 they beat them in the group. There's no reason why any of them can't come through this, and you wouldn't fancy facing them, because when you get to that, you know, when the word final is included on it, it suddenly gets turned up a notch, doesn't it? You know, all of a sudden you're thinking there's no easy game. You know, if you get these in a knockout round, you think, oh, we should beat these. Celtic, they couldn't do it. But you get them in a semi-final, then they're all for it. They're all for trying to win the competition, and it's brilliant to see a group of teams like this in the European competition.
I mean, Michael, I'm very much like Brad. I mean, now, you know, I remember PSV, they always seem to be in Europe. They're one of the strong, you know, European teams. And I'm just looking at the odds there. I mean, everybody seems to think it's going to be a Marseille-Roma final. To win it outright, it's Marseille and Roma both, you know, are the same. And then we're third. And then you've got Feyenoord, you know, which probably won't please you at all. But are you surprised, you know, that PSV aren't sort of in that sort of thoughts of people to win it?
I mean, writing for Football Daniel, I'm not necessarily a PSV fan in this respect. I'm a Dutch football fan, and I actually think Feyenoord will be the outside bet to win this competition. I really do.
Really?
Watch out for them. Yeah. They've got a great first 11. So as long as they don't have any more injuries, just lost their goalkeeper, I think that they're up there. It might, well, in my opinion, I think it will be Feyenoord, Roma in the final, and then we'll see.
Well, it could
not putting Leicester down, by the way.
No. I'd expect you to say that, in fairness. The two quarterfinals there this Thursday at 8 p.m. and then one of those weird kickoffs next week, next Thursday the 14th at 5:45. Of course, both are on BT Sport. Static says, "Get well, Louis van Gaal." Yep, we all agree with that. Okay, so going into this then, Michael, as sort of not necessarily a PSV fan, but certainly as a Dutch fan, how do you see Leicester? We've not had the best of seasons, have we?
Well, I'm also an Aston Villa fan. That's my first love, and obviously, I get to watch Leicester every now and again playing the Premier League. And I can see that from I see from a Dutch football head, PSV have got some brilliant attacking players, but they leak it defensively. And I know that it's sort of similar for Leicester as well in a way. And I'm looking forward to seeing how PSV can take some of their experienced European players, all this talent they've got, some great young players, as is typical for a Dutch club, and putting that to the test at a big European stage, playing a tough team, an English team who will be physical and quick, and seeing how they're getting on. I think looking at Leicester, that's how I see it. They're physical and they'll be quick. Like most Premier League teams, they're going to put PSV under pressure for sure in the home leg.
And what are your sort of your injuries like? Because I don't know if you've read today, it doesn't look like Vardy's going to be back for us.
Well, for PSV, mainly clean bill of health. Yeah, Cody Gakpo is the standout player. He'll play in the left wing. He's on the cusp of the Dutch international side, and he's just come back from injury. He was meant to miss their last league match completely against Twente, but they were losing quite badly at half time, so they had to bring him on and to rescue a point, and it worked. He won't be at his freshest. But
3-3, wasn't it?
He'll give his all. Yeah, so Twente were 3-0 up in 25 minutes. Yeah. Could have been 4-5-0. PSV managed to claw it back to 3-3, which I think summed up PSV this season in a nutshell, that they're very poor defensively, and I think attacking wise they can be excellent and even better than Ajax.
Yeah, I mean, Brad, no Vardy, they said today, but Thomas could be back. That said, I think it's a case with Tom. If he does come back, it just gives the players a rest for the weekend. I wasn't expecting Vardy back anyway, were you?
No, I wasn't. And we saw what happened when he maybe convinced Brendan to bring him back in earlier than he probably wanted to. And it just shows the importance that is around Vardy, that unfortunately he was able to, say, look, Brendan, God, I'm really up for this. I know I'm not 100%. I really want to play. I really want to help the lads, and that swayed him. And it backfired. It backfired on the play, and it backfired, unfortunately. And Brendan took the rap for it. And I think maybe that was a big learning curve for both Brendan and Vardy to take it easy on a return. And there's no reason to do so. We discussed this on a show yesterday, didn't Chris? Where I said the biggest difference Leicester they've had over the last few seasons is we've got a very strong 25-man squad. Iniacho's been fantastic when he's been given the opportunities, considering again he's gone back to the very limited opportunities compared to last season. Daka's been an absolute bolt of energy to that team when he's played. You saw what he did against Moscow, so we know he can do it at this level. So I'm not as concerned as I have been over past years with Vardy or Ndidi, the big casualty missing, not being available, because I feel confident in our squad's depth to fill in and things. And again, the whole Thursday Sunday routine that happens to clubs playing in this European competition, is probably beneficial that we leave Vardy to go and get 70 odd minutes against Crystal Palace instead of risking him here for 45 minutes.
I don't know whether he'll even be back for Palace. I mean, Rennie
says maybe not, but either way, I'd rather not rush him back. So
no, I get the point. I mean, Rodgers today said he has no idea when he'll be back. There's problems when he kicks the ball with his knee. But you obviously, Michael, you must be thinking, yes, no Vardy. That's great.
Yeah, I think some pace running down the middle is exactly what PSV don't want to face.
Yes.
So.
I mean, I suppose with that, then it's for us, it's a quick case of calling Brennan and saying, "Get Daka on," because he's the one with the speed rather than Iheanacho. Static says here, Maddison has done very well this season, even in Europe. His form is coming back, definitely. I appreciate you've got to go at 7:30. Michael, so I'm trying to sort of get the questions to you out first. I mean, when I look at this, and this just, let's have a look at sort of how PSV got here. You're higher ranking than us, about 20 places higher in UEFA's ranking, for what they mean. Again, you were in the Europa League with us, and you qualified third. You then went through the playoffs, and you had a good win. That's how now it's Copenhagen 8-4 over 2 legs, because we remember them, Brad. And you got through to the Europa League last round of 32. And of course, you have won this competition, although it was a while back, even when I was young, and that is going back quite a way to 77, 78. But you just have got, I mean, when you look at that, I mean, that scares me, Brad. I mean, Michael, that's a good record they've got, isn't it?
Yeah, they're one of the big 3 in the Netherlands, and you can see there they've won all these domestic honours. Obviously, they've had some European success in the past, but they've got some great players in attack, like I keep saying, and I look forward to giving a bit more insight into a couple of those. But I think with their defence and their current manager, Roger Schmidt, he's leaving at the end of the season. The German coach hasn't been able to kind of get PSV to be a machine playing against the top sides of the Netherlands, plus some sides in Europe as well. That's happened in the group stages. They had a good win against Copenhagen. It's probably their best win of the season, playing against like a good side. So maybe they'll continue that, or it'll be more of the same, where they just lose against the sides that match them.
Yes, yeah. I mean, bear with me, Brad, if I say I'll stick more with Michael before.
No,
I
that's
have
fine.
to
I
go,
understand
you
he's
know.
on a tight schedule.
Yeah.
He's just great. He's come on, so go for it.
You're saying about the manager there. Is it Van Nistelrooy that's taken over?
That will be from the next season. So it's still
Yeah,
Roger Schmidt at
yeah.
the moment till the end of this season.
Yeah. I mean, I can remember when we won the Premier League that happened with Manchester City. They announced about 10 games before that Pellegrini would be leaving at the end of the season, and their season kind of went off the cliff. And we look at Man United now and see, you know, they've got a sort of a manager that they know is not going to be there next season, and it's totally and utterly messed their season up. I mean, was it a good idea to announce it? I mean, surely now the players are thinking, well, you know, this guy's not going to be here next season.
Yeah, it's a thing that Dutch football's known for, that they'll get a new manager before the end of the season, and it kind of, for me, it's not what I personally would think is a good idea, but it's just the way Dutch football's always been. However, I think that all the players are together with what they want to try and achieve. At the end of the day, they still could win the Dutch league. I don't think they will. They could still win the Dutch Cup. They could still win a European competition. And winning one of those three things would be very good this season. Winning two of those would be incredible, but isn't expected.
Yes. To me, it's just, like I say, a weird decision. But like I say, if it's what they normally do. But you mentioned players there. So who should Leicester be looking out for?
Yeah, I already pinpointed Cody Gakpo. He's their best player by far. He's from Eindhoven, and he's very pacey. He's a tall striker playing out on the left. He idolises Henry. He's got trickery like Henry. He likes to have a good shot on his right foot cutting inside. And he's actually got one of the highest crossing stats of any player in the Eredivisie. So he's also very good at those as well. But then that front three that play behind the main striker, Eren Zahavi, are all dangerous. And everyone knows about Mario Götze, how he's come back from the problems he's had in the middle of his career. Being a World Cup winner with Germany, he's playing behind the striker. And I'm sure that because it's a big match, he'll try and be influential again. I said that PSV have lost a lot of their big games this season, but Götze has been one that stood out in a lot of those as someone who's tried to carry the team through. He's just got this nous about him. It's brilliant. And another player that I think Leicester will be familiar with is Nana Madueke, who's the English winger who you were linked with, I think, last summer, who plays on the right side. He has had lots of injury problems this season, but I'm wondering whether now that he's back from a longer spell out, a bit of pace might be what could be useful against Leicester. So I'll be interested if he starts on the right or comes on as a sub, but I'm sure he'll get some minutes in these two fixtures. Yeah, as I say, strikers Eren Zahavi. Just one more player for me is Joey Veerman. So this is the thing. There's so many attacking players that they're not all going to start.
I wasn't expecting this long list. You're scaring me now.
That's the thing. This is what I would be worried about as a Leicester fan. Because you've got Joey Veerman as well. He's on the cusp of the Dutch national side. He's very creative, loves a good pass, great set pieces. Yeah, one to watch out for.
Yeah, and I think
you have Van Ginkel as well, isn't he? Ex-Chelsea, or is he?
Yeah, he's been in and out of the side. He's not really hit the heights this season. He would be a bit deep in midfield if he did play, but unlikely to have a massive impact on the two fixtures.
Yeah, so his career's not really taken off even lower than it was when he was at Chelsea then.
Well, yeah, it was going well for him whenever he came to PSV, and you're thinking now that he's there a bit more settled, that it will go well for him, and it hasn't.
And I mean, who from Leicester do you fear?
I think it's the pacey, physical strikers that are going to run for the middle of the side. I know that Leicester play a bit more narrow; they don't like to go wide necessarily to cross, and I think that's what's going to cause PSV some harm on the counter attack. But I think that's going to maybe be more important when PSV are at home and are trying to put pressure on. The counter-attack could be massive for Leicester there. Because I was just going to say that in that game where they were losing 3-0 to Twente in the first 25 minutes, Twente were cutting through the middle constantly, time and time again. And PSV obviously cannot afford to do that again. But it feels like they are quite vulnerable to conceding goals. But to be honest, I can't really see, if any, really clean sheets in either of these two games. I think it's been very entertaining.
Not with Leicester, there won't be a clean sheet, probably.
Not with PSV.
Well, two last questions before you go. First of all, are PSV any good at corners? Because if you are, we'll just pack up and go home now.
I'll be honest with you, I don't have all the corner stats ready to go, but obviously
it was a
playing against
tongue-in-cheek
sides,
question, that one.
of course. But they're very good at breaking down deep defences, and their crossing is quite important. So I wonder whether that would be useful again against Leicester.
Can you give me then, before you go, score prediction for this game, and then just the winner, who you think will go through to the semis?
Well, I'm sure your listeners will be delighted to hear what I say, because I think there'll be goals either way in this. I think if Leicester get a fast start in their home leg, get the win, because I think if Leicester take the advantage, I think PSV will then make the most of Leicester dropping a bit deeper, trying to hold on to the first result. I can see PSV getting in with their attacking players. But then when PSV are at home, you can see home advantage being really important again. And it's up to Leicester to make the most of the counter-attack to see out the game.
Yeah. But Michael, thank you so much for coming on. Quickly, before you go, just give out where people can find you again, your social medias.
Yep, so it's Football Aranya, and that is spelled football, same as English, and orange, but change the G for a J, Football Aranya. And it's, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, websites. We're everywhere, and we do match reports, podcasts, everything.
Well, I'd say good luck, but I wouldn't mean it, and that's and I extend that to Aston Villa as well. So, Midland club.
All the best, though. And I think this genuinely is going to be an entertaining couple of games, and I'm just looking forward to watching it.
I don't like entertaining. I much prefer comfortable. but thanks very much for coming on. Really do appreciate it. I appreciate you got to go. But if you do beat us, good luck. But obviously, I hope you don't. Take care, mate. Stay safe.
Bye. Speak soon.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Thanks very much to Michael for coming on. Sorry about that, Brad. Like I say, it was
no, it was interesting to listen to.
He had to go at 7:30, so it was only fair to sort of get in him as much as I can in the start. I mean, if we go back and look at Leicester's, there we go, history 76, which it's not bad, is it? UEFA ranking. We did have to get this way through the back door, if you like, but we did what needed to be done against Randers. And how important was that Iheanacho goal when it came to the Rennes tie?
Well, it just showed you how pivotal it is. I mean, I think a lot of fans were probably doing backflips at the fact that Leicester hadn't conceded. So going into a game, I mean, it might have changed the complexity. You don't know. Going into a 1-0 game, maybe they don't feel the urgency to do it. That you go into a game where you're already 2 goals behind. I wonder if maybe Brendan and his team have looked at the fact that if you can get into the PSV side early, especially away from home, whether that will influence who he starts with. Because if PSV do allow a high line and do try and squeeze Leicester, like that infamous game against Moscow showed, Daka will absolutely tear that and eat that for breakfast, dinner, and lunch sort of thing. But I'm looking forward to it. I kind of said it tongue in cheek. I'd like a win and a clean sheet against Rennes, and it worked. So I'd take it again. I'd take a 1-0. I'd obviously be ecstatic with a 2-0. But it sounds like even if the result isn't ideal, that the PSV are susceptible to conceding. So as long as Leicester can keep themselves in the game, even if it's a 2-1 win or a 1-1 draw or even 0-0, I'd still fancy us over the 2 legs to go and do it.
Yes, and I think, you're right. Like you say, the fact that they are susceptible at the back, maybe we didn't get such a bad draw. But, I keep saying, and I said earlier, this is really, when you look at that and who's left in there, I know, like Blood, Glimt, a true great story. They're doing a bit of a Leicester, really. Let's hope they don't take it all the way. But, when you look at that, I mean, you can't take this competition lightly. You've got some giants of the game there. And
Yeah.
Slavia Prague, love them or hate them, they have been in the Champions League, and then all the other clubs we know. The fact that when you said, right, we've got Randers, everybody's like getting the Atlas out. Where's Randers? Have you heard of Randers? Do you know Randers? Where with those guys, again, with the exception of Blood, you know them all. And that, if you know these European teams, that shows, in my mind, how strong they are.
Yeah, it does. And again, like I said, I couldn't recognise the badge for Prague, but that's 6 teams that have played at the highest European competition level. I don't think, I don't know, is that PAOK?
PAOK, that is.
I always forget who.
Yeah, you got Blood Glimt versus Roma.
Yeah.
Like I said, they've already shown Roma, they mean business. Marseille against PAOK.
Yeah.
Feyenoord against Slavia Prague, and obviously ourselves against PSV.
Yeah, so the majority of that competition, 90% of the, I believe 90% of them have got good European experience and have played in a high caliber of it. And, people might say, oh, well, if Bode/Gullim can do Roma over, and if we can get past PSV, we should be in the final. There's no means, because they've come out of their group, they've beaten Celtic. I mean, all right, apparently, unless you're Rangers this season, you can do that any game of the season, unless you're a Scottish side. Celtic can't beat anybody unless it's probably themselves in the European Cup. But, you think, well, hold on a minute. If they've knocked out, they've got out of the group, they knocked Celtic out, they've not, and if they go and knock Roma out, that doesn't mean then all of a sudden that Leicester are going to suddenly go and thrash them 6-0 and we're going to be like, well, they're going to put up a great competition. They're very strong, and I'm probably going to get put here. They're Norwegian, aren't they?
Yes.
Yes, they're a very strong Norwegian outfit. They're kind of like PSV in regards to how they do in the Dutch league. I believe they're not the first name you think of, because you think Dutch league instantly. Probably more people probably think Ajax than PSV, which is no great disrespect to them. It's just first name sort of thing, but they're not a side to take it easy. None of these sides in here would you fancy.
Whoever you play at this stage, have got there on merit and results, so whoever they are should not be taken lightly. Yeah. And I mean, it's a European quarter final. Whether it's Champions League or whatever, and I know West Ham are tearing it up in the Europa League, and good luck to them.
No, I don't care about them.
I don't. I wouldn't say I'm going to go out and watch the matches or anything, but I do wish them well. They're an English team, and
I'll cheer for them if they get Rangers in the final. If they have to play Rangers in the final, I want them to beat Rangers. That's fine. That's a different reason.
I tell you what, I'd cheer for Moscow if they got Rangers in the final. I'll tell you.
I wouldn't go that far, but
I would. That's how I don't like Scottish football. But no, joking aside, it's. Like I say, it's a European quarter-final, and it is, to my mind, and how even just a few years ago, we'd have taken this with open arms. We'd have said this is great.
Well, a few years ago, we got here with open arms in the Champions League, didn't we?
Maybe going back further than that. I mean,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. I'm just like, I think it's almost like the fact that it's a quarter-final hasn't really registered, and maybe that's because it's the conference. And
no, I just think it's one of them. Again, the word final seems to have that edge to it, that impetus to it, doesn't it? You kind of sort of you have to remember, I mean, there's teams that were in this competition, and I'm not sure how it was that certain leagues do their thing, because this is definitely a competition that's going to benefit other countries than us, because we have about 400. We have 95 of our of our English sides playing in Europe. We seem to get that many qualifying spots. We get all the 92 clubs playing in it, but these clubs probably went through more than Leicester to get here. We obviously we played the group stages. So we played 6 group games. We played the qualifier. We played 10 games to get to this stage. There's probably, I'd imagine, Bode Glimt probably played some qualifiers
Yeah.
So this is a great occasion for them. And now, we said this about the FA Cup, didn't we, last year when we won it. Just thought I'd bring that up again to anyone still listening. We said at that point, I think we got Man United in the quarterfinals. We went, this is where now you put all your eggs into it. You might as well go to win it, because you can get a dodgy tie. You can have a bad outing to Yeovil Town away. You can have on a bogged down pitch, and you can go out in the third or fourth round and it happens. But when you get to quarterfinals, everybody, even neutrals, look at you and go, they should win that now. They should really go far in that competition, or at least make a certain stage. And obviously, a thing that people are forgetting, whilst the bookies have us as third favourites, this is only Leicester's fourth European venture. We had the qualifiers. I remember the UEFA Cup qualifying
of recent years.
Yeah, but in recent years, it's our fourth venture in recent years, and this is the first time I believe that Leicester have ever got to. This is the second time Leicester have got to a quarter-final stage. They've never got to a semi-final. It's Brendan's first time in a quarter-final European fixture, so it's all open for it. So, what a story is!
It is exactly. And I'm sorry, but I don't care what they say. And I don't care how up themselves they all are, but Man United fans would love to be in this competition now, because they're not in Europe at all. They're not going to win anything this season.
Yeah.
Yes, like us, they'll have wanted to be in the higher leagues, and I'd have loved this to be the quarterfinals of the Europa League, but it's not to be.
It's the conference as well.
It is. It is still, as I say, a European quarterfinal. You look in there. I mean, that does worry me a bit. 28 games played for Ajax. They've won 21. They've not lost in 5. But they have let 34 goals in. So like we said, they are susceptible. But then again, they have scored 71. So maybe it's not so. You score one, we'll score 3 sort of thing.
Although I did check their scores out, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just, and I mean this with the greatest of respect, but I don't know if it's just the standard of the lower end of the Dutch league. I know they've got a team, brilliant team name by the way. They've got a team called Go Ahead Eagles in them. And I think they played the same.
A very famous quiz question on a recent YouTube channel, I believe.
Yes, I do believe you're right that it was a very famous quiz question on a certain quiz channel. Anyway, as I said, I checked their fixture out, trying to give myself a bit more information on it. I think there was about 6 games where they played against 10 men. Both the games against Go Ahead Eagles, and I believe some like Mao Taheim, or however it's pronounced. So they don't always play against 11 men. So, maybe Brendan should just tell that. It's not that you need to, but stay on the pitch, lads, and we might just win this tie. Because they've shown that they can obviously hold a lead and score goals, but they've also shown, as recent as Michael said last week, that they can find themselves out of a game. And if Leicester, if Leicester of old, Brendan said in his press conference that Leicester have rediscovered their identity over the last few weeks, and this is Fofana and Evans is the elephants in the room making that more obvious as to why. But if Leicester do have the dream start, and say we go 2-0 up inside the 20 minutes, you do feel that Leicester now are in a position where maybe they can see that out and then take that to PSV and we're not going 1-0 down after 8 minutes like we did against Rennes, but we'll see.
We've got our defence back, haven't we? That's I think the
I don't know if that chant will catch on. I don't know. We've got our defence back. I don't know. It might be a bit wordy for some people to sing, but we'll
Scott
see.
says there. Will Brendan swap in the formation against PSV to get players that fit the formation? We know Mendy, and indeed, I just think Chowdhury slips in there. He brought him on at the end of the Man United game. I think we can't play, like you say, Mendy.
Which I think strange. I didn't know he was. I thought he was able to re-register him, and I thought he would have re-registered him.
We didn't have enough places. He was because of who else he was re-registering him. Who else was re-registering?
Well, that for me is a bit daft. Sack, because I guarantee you, he's registered Jakupovic, isn't he?
But it's that 2-3 goalkeeper rule, and at the moment we haven't got a Danny Ward. So it's probably as well that he's done Jakubovic. I mean, I think Chowdhury starts, or Sumari even, because with the European experience, either of those will fit into that. I'd like to see Evans start because I think this is the more important game than no disrespect to Palace than Palace.
Yeah, I think in context it definitely is, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So I'd like to see maybe the experience of Evans being used, if it's 70, 75 minutes in this game rather than in the... But you never know with Brendan, do you? You never know.
No, you don't. I mean, it all depends. I know Brendan sees it as more of a comfort zone. He prefers to have a midfield three where Ndidi sits in that deeper role, or Mendy or Chowdhury. But you never know. I believe that when we signed him, Samore was more of a flat midfielder, so he could drop back, but he could also then engage forward, which is what we kind of get more, when we've compared the two, like or the three of them, Mendy and Chowdhury and Ndidi. We've always said that the difference that really stands out between them is Ndidi has that drive forward with him, doesn't he? Where he sits as the deepest line, but he's still in that attacking sense. So maybe it depends how Brendan wants to go about it, whether he wants to kind of judge PSV for the first hour and then go more aggressive towards them, or if he wants to up from front, might see Samore playing in a flat three midfield. We might see Chowdhury. We'll wait and see, because he might end up putting bloody Jakubovic.
Exactly. You don't know. Just to say here, and I'm going to quote the BBC here. They have said this is not a test. Burnley have scored, and it is Burnley 1, Everton 0 at the moment. So, yes, come on, Burnley. Just to end then, Brad. I'm going to nip over to Brad's channel in a second. But just to say, so Leicester third favourites to win it. Leicester-Marseille final is the second final that they think will happen after, obviously, Rome-Marseille. To reach the final, Marseille and Roma, well, Marseille's 1-1, but the other just evens, Roma 6-5, Leicester 2-1. Leicester-Marseille to win 9-1, Marseille 11-1. So, yeah, it's going to be tight, but hey, fingers crossed. But we will be back tomorrow night to discuss it. After the game, 10:30-ish, depending how much injury time there is played. As I do give my biggest apologies to Chloe for using you so much this week.
Yeah, it's all right, mate. I will do. I'm sure she's quite understanding, so she knows that. Bless her. You got a woman that understands, then you're in. Mate, thanks very much. All the best, and I will see you tomorrow night. And obviously all your links are in the channel or in the text on YouTube down below. Take care, everybody. Thanks a lot. Yeah, take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thanks to Brad for doing that, and he's back with me for the post-match show tomorrow. Yep, he is indeed. So catch over. I'm going to go over to Turf Moorhouse TV now. Catch us over there for the Burnley-Everton game. I'll see you. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening as well. If you've been listening on the podcast, I really do appreciate that as well. And see you tomorrow night. Come on, you foxes. Let's take a lead. Let's take a lead back to Holland. Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Good night.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye, and see you next time.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.